Piers Morgan and Mohammad Hijab get into a heated debate about the Israeli-Palestine war. So if you got 20 minutes, let's go ahead and watch and react to this video and see just what the heck is going on here. Let's do it right now.
Pretend you don't know who I am. You've been watching my videos. You know what I'm about. Your silence is deafening, and your cowardice is apparent.
Well, Mohammad Hijab joins me now. Mohammad, thank you very much for coming in. I hadn't actually watched your videos. I have now. I've watched a few of them. I'm aware you've got a massive following. You've got nearly 1 million YouTube subscribers. You're an influential person, and you have a lot to say about this issue, obviously. So I thank you for coming in, but I'm not too cowardly to talk to you. I don't have a horse in this race. I think I've tried to straddle a divide of being fair-minded with all sides. I've had all voices on the show.
I commend you for that, actually, to be honest, for bringing me on. But do realise I did caveat that with on fair ground. So let's hope that this interview is conducted.
I intend to be completely fair.
Yeah, sure.
I promise you, because all I want to get to here is a real sense of what is going to happen. We can all look back at. We can all look back. Let me just. We can all look back.
Before that, Piers, sorry, if you want to say fair grounds, you introduced me as a Palestinian controversial.
I actually corrected myself.
Right, so
I said pro-Palestinian. I meant to say pro-Palestinian.
So why did the word controversial come into play?
I think you're controversial.
So are you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
So is the ambassador. Why didn't you introduce her in that manner?
I'm happy to say that to many people, her views would be controversial.
So why didn't you introduce me as the Oxford graduate?
Do you want to be introduced as that?
Yes.
Okay, or an Oxford graduate.
Go ahead.
Okay. No problem. You can be introduced as anything you like.
I love Piers Morgan.
Let me ask you this. Where were you when you heard about what happened on October the 7th?
I was at home.
What was your reaction when you heard?
I was actually very sickened by it. And this is something I do want to put on the table because I think it's fair for people to know this. In our religion, we do not believe, okay, as a Muslim, I am a Muslim, and I do not believe in the killing of any man, woman, or children, non-combatants. That is not despite the religious teachings. That is because of the religious teachings. So in terms of condemning Hamas and just jumping straight into it,
it's not entirely true.
I condemn not only Hamas, but any other entity, okay, wherein it's proven that this has been done, that the killing of combatants has been done. Therein, I condemn any party that does it. Any party that kills people or strikes at people where it's more probable than not that it will hit a civilian target, I condemn them. And that's why I condemn the IDF. Because when they strike, they know that it's more probably than not going to hit civilian targets. They know that the majority of civilians, or the majority of people that are going to be affected are civilians. We know that from the various operations that have been conducted. We know that because now in Gaza you find that there is a blockade, as you know, for 17 years, but also they're stopping them from electricity, water, which is a war crime under Geneva 4 of the Geneva Convention, Protocol 4 of the Geneva Convention. So this is something I'm surprised you didn't actually mention to the ambassador.
But I did mention it.
You didn't say it's a war crime.
Well, I think it's an arguable point whether it's a war crime.
Okay, let me ask you now then.
They are saying, Israel, at the moment, Israel is adamant they are not breaching war crimes, right? It will be determined.
But if we could,
well, it will be determined whether that's the case.
No, sorry.
That's
incorrect.
Mohammad, let me make a point to you back on that. I think surely we can agree that what happened on October the 7th was a war crime. I mean, when people are taking grandmothers and executing them, kidnapping young children, when they're killing babies in their cribs, we can agree that's war crime, right?
Okay, babies.
Can we?
Surely, of course, 100%.
Right.
But babies in the crib, sorry, what was the evidence for that?
You don't believe that happened?
CNN,
Come
the
on,
White
bro.
House, Sky News, which you work for, all say...
I don't work for Sky News.
Well, your thing...
I did work at CNN. I saw one reporter who retracted it because she wasn't sure about the source.
It's unconfirmed by the White House.
But then the Daily Telegraph and the Jerusalem Post and other sources then did publish pictures
CNN,
which indisputably show babies have been killed.
No, it showed one baby who's been charred, and that picture has been put up on Twitter and has been refuted by many people saying that it's actually AI.
That's completely untrue.
That is true. What's your source? What's your source?
There's been a thorough investigation into the claim that was put up there by some rogue person on Twitter that it was AI. It has been completely disproven.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
That picture, which was published on the Telegraph, is a genuine, legitimate picture.
What is your source?
Are you seriously arguing that babies weren't killed?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm saying, give me a source.
Yeah.
You know full well you've been fired from the Daily Mirror for...
He's kind of like trying to, you know what I mean, play like he's straddling the fence. Like he's not trying to say that it's not true, but he's kind of giving evidence. But we know what they've done there. Like I've seen videos, I've seen some gruesome pictures. Man, it is destructive, and a lot of it did start on October 7th, like Piers Morgan said, when Hamas went in there and did some crazy stuff. And I even seen a video of a man that he said that his wife and kids were taken away from him. They were taken away from his home, and he couldn't do anything about it. So come on, bro, it's some shady stuff going on. Don't just act like it's a lot of innocence going on. There's some shady stuff going on both sides, really.
Fake images. So you know full well about the
I didn't accept they were faked.
Exactly. The UK government did.
Yeah, they did.
So
Because the UK government, just to be clear,
Sure.
had waged, in my view, an illegal war in Iraq.
So you're allowed to go against the government,
hang on.
and I'm not allowed to go against the Israeli government.
Of course you're allowed to.
So tell me now, what's the
You
source?
seem to be making a lot of presumptions about me, Mohammed.
Yes, because you had softball questions
I was
for
the
your
editor.
ambassador of
No, they weren't. I put all the questions to the ambassador. I was the editor of the Daily Mirror when we opposed the Iraq war on the grounds that I believed it was an illegal war.
Yeah.
I still believe that to this day. I think
Good.
it stained this country.
Fantastic.
I don't think you even knew that.
I did know that.
Right.
But that's not the point I was making. I was making the point that if you're allowed to go against the government in their classification of an image, then if you have pro-Palestinian activists who are saying, actually, we need to see a source, shouldn't they be entitled to that?
The Daily Telegraph published on page 3.
Should they be entitled to that, yes
you're
or no?
talking about, the Daily
they be
Telegraph
entitled to that, yes or
said
no?
they had independently verified
they be
the picture, Mohammed.
No, excuse me.
If you're saying that their
Primary source
verification is
material.
wrong.
No, excuse me. Primary source in academia, I know you've done a journalism degree, which is, frankly, is not relevant to what we're talking about here.
Wow,
Probably is to
throwing
journalism.
shots.
No, it's not to this conflict, but we
throwing shots at
academics
him.
require primary source evidence in order to make it.
The Daily Telegraph said.
Evidence?
The Daily Telegraph said they verified the picture.
That's a secondary
Fine,
source.
you may say
that's secondary source.
You may say
that's a secondary source.
Well, you may say you don't think it's genuine. I don't agree with you. But the wider point.
That was my point.
But
I
the
said
wider
I want
point,
a source. I just want to see the
I don't know what we're
evidence.
arguing about here. You're not contesting that babies were killed.
No, I'm saying I want to see the evidence.
So why are you picking on the semantics of the veracity of one picture,
It's not.
which has been verified by British journalists? Why are you picking on that?
British journalists are
some
not an
example
authority.
of somehow this wasn't as bad as it seems.
British journalists are not an academic authority. You know that full well. You've been fired from Daily Mirror for that very purpose. What I'm saying to you is this: putting this issue to the side, I think you're trying to use it as a red herring to move away from the
What
bigger
red
issues.
herring?
This is a red herring because already 1,023 children have been killed in Gaza. That's why. And you didn't ask the ambassador that question.
I
did you?
literally asked the ambassador.
No,
I said 3,000 people have already been killed in a week
Sure,
in Gaza.
but you didn't ask her.
That's
Well,
a
you
lie.
even listened to
condemn
my
it.
interview with the ambassador.
I did listen, but excuse me.
Well, don't put words in my
No, hold
mouth
on.
or say I didn't ask a question.
Let me ask you a question. Do you condemn the killing of those children by the IDF?
I tell you what I condemn.
Yes or no?
I'm going to answer your question honestly and truthfully.
Sure.
And because I've tweeted about this, right?
Oh, okay.
I think that what happened on October the 7th was one of the worst atrocities I have ever had to read about or watch on
It happens
videos.
every day in Palestine. So why do you care about that?
It
one so
actually
much?
doesn't. It doesn't.
It does actually,
No,
yes.
no. The Israeli forces.
I've got the stats for that. if you
Israeli
want.
forces do not go.
Cast-led,
Wait a minute,
protective
Mohammed.
edge. Go and check it out.
Mohammed. Israeli forces.
Cast-led, protective edge.
Israeli forces don't go into Gaza on one day and grab grandmothers and kill babies in their
that's
beds.
facts.
Okay.
And
No, hold on.
rape and abuse
So,
women.
rape, is there any evidence for that?
It's been multiple
on,
reports in
bro.
multiple
By
mainstream
whom?
media publications.
Whom?
Well, you're going to sit here and deny everything,
No,
right?
no, I'm not denying anything.
You are.
No, I accept that some civilians have been killed. I do accept this. And I already said
You don't believe any of the reports that women were raped?
No, I didn't say that. I said that it's still to
Well,
be
do you
verified.
think they were raped?
No, I don't know. It's like the Russell Brand thing. You said you don't know. You need to see the evidence. So why do you apply two different
not.
standards?
I'm saying it's been
by the way,
reported-
when it's Israel, we know they're raped. When it's Russell Brand, you don't know because you're friend.
No, it's been reported by legitimate news
When it's
sources.
Israel,
which
you
I
know they're
believe-
raped. But when
which
it's
I
Russell
believe
Brand, you
have
don't know.
verified them.
When it's Russell Brand, you don't know
There's
if
no
they're raped.
comparison between Russell Brand and what's happened
It's the
here.
same thing. It's a rape allegation. Why are you stuttering?
I'm not stuttering.
You are stuttering. You don't have
You're
anything to say.
contesting every single thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
the
saying
point of
to
an
you,
argument.
at the end, 1,300 people were brutally
2,000
murdered,
people have been killed on the other side.
abused.
2,000 people have been killed on
I
the other
said
side.
that to the ambassador.
Okay, but do you condemn that, yes or no?
I don't think.
So you refuse to condemn?
No.
You do refuse to
Why are you
condemn?
putting words in my mouth?
Because you're not condemning it, are you?
What do you want me to condemn?
Condemn?
Israel's
Okay,
right.
excellent. What do I want you to condemn?
Yes.
I want you to condemn the fact that the IDF, knowing that it's more probable than not, pressing buttons from the sky, killing innocent civilians, 1,000 of them children, that is a war crime and that is not acceptable morally. Just like you condemn the other one. Is it condemnable or
I
not?
believe, given the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th,
Go ahead,
Israel is entitled to
kill
defend-
children.
No, that's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled to defend themselves with force.
Okay,
That is true.
excellent.
And I'll say this real quick. I know that Hamas was hiding behind the people that were in Gaza, and that's why the Israeli forces had no choice but to send bombs over there. They told everyone, get out because we're going to do this. Now, you know what I'm saying? I know I've had both sides tell me there were shady things happening, but Israel had this thing, I guess like a dome thing that when you shoot off bombs, they can accurately hit the bomb in the air so it doesn't hit the cities around Israel. Gaza didn't have that. It wasn't in Gaza. So Gaza, the Hamas soldiers shot off rockets. Their rockets got deflected, and then Israel returned fire, and their rockets actually hit on target. And that's how it went. You know, and is it good on both sides? No, because innocent children, innocent people, and families are being destroyed by this. But it is a fight of two different forces, and one force had a little bit more power and a little bit more technology to not get damaged as much as the other one. So that's kind of how that went.
Question becomes, Mohammed,
Okay.
it's an interesting debate.
Sure.
If, as it seems to me, you believe too,
Go on.
Hamas are not a force for good, do you believe that?
Well, I think that anybody who kills children and those elements of Hamas who are killing
you go.
children.
Right, so we can
are not
agree.
good.
There
So
you
we
go.
agree.
That's
my
good.
point is,
Finish your point.
if Israel's
good.
purpose is to rid the world of Hamas after the atrocity of October the 7th,
Sure.
how do they do that, given that Hamas embeds itself in civilian areas in the way that it does? Everyone knows that in Gaza.
Okay.
How do they do that
Excellent.
in the surgically clean way that you seem to think
Yeah.
they should be doing?
Okay, can I say-
How do you not kill civilians?
Beautiful. Can I ask-
don't like any civilian death.
Do you mind if I answer
I
the
don't
question?
endorse any civilian death.
Well, no,
Do
you
I
don't condemn it, though,
Hang
do you?
on.
Yeah.
No, and here's why. Because I support Israel's right to defend
Okay,
itself.
beautiful.
Now,
Can I say
no,
something?
No, one more point. So then
Go
you
ahead.
can reply.
Sure.
But the question then becomes, what is proportionate?
Okay.
What is a proportionate response?
Okay.
I don't
That's
have
a
the
good
answer.
question.
Because
Excellent.
I don't know what a proportionate response to 1300
How many people
murders
can
is.
die,
When
right, before it's-
260 young people at a music festival, most
Yeah.
of them peace-loving people enjoying themselves at a festival,
All of them
when they
killed.
get slaughtered by people
there any
paragliding
evidence all of them
in
were
with
killed?
machine guns, I don't know what the proportionate response
Piers,
is.
let me respond to
So
you.
can you tell me?
You've spoken for about 2 minutes. You didn't do that with the ambassador. By the way, I'm just showing you're saying fair, but you're not being fair.
I've said what I
okay,
wanna say.
so let me paint a picture.
I will be fair.
Sure.
I'm genuinely interested in what
Fine.
you have to say.
All right, excellent. You're from Irish descent. You know that there was an IRA
Yes.
in Belfast and so on. Okay, so let me ask you a question now. If there was IRA in Belfast and they were occupying council properties and so on, and then we have a plane of RAF going to destroy that council property, destroy all of Belfast, flatten it, as one representative said, Gottlieb. The IDF said that. One of the IDF members said that we will flatten it completely. That's what we want to do. We don't care about accuracy, he said. We care about damage. That's what he said. You didn't question her about that. But anyway, if the RAF were to then go into Belfast and flatten, as the IDF and these guys want to do, if they want to flatten Belfast with all the white people, I'm going to use the term white, all the white people, council estates living in there, with the excuse that we're doing it because it's proportionate defense to the terrorists. What would you say about that?
Here's what I would say to you.
Is that acceptable or unacceptable?
Here's what I would say to you.
Yeah.
The IRA committed a series of atrocities over numerous decades. They targeted, in their eyes, military and political targets. They usually gave some form of warning, not always.
Okay.
They
were terrorists.
No, they were terrorists.
Sure.
They never, ever went out one day and committed the barbaric slaughter of 1,300...
Irrelevant.
No.
If they did.
I'm sorry, it's not irrelevant.
If they did.
No, Mohammed.
They did.
Here's why it's not irrelevant.
Okay.
They never did.
But if they did, would you accept
And by
the RAF to flatten
by the way,
Belfast?
there were outrages committed by
My question is,
by
if-
the loyalist paramilitaries
Excuse me,
too.
my question is,
Here's my
if
point.
they did, would you think it's acceptable
They
or
never
not?
came close to committing an outrage
If
on that
they-
scale.
If
right?
they did, is it acceptable
They
to
never
flatten
went
Belfast?
in and kidnapped grandmothers or killed babies
If they
in cribs.
did, is it acceptable or not?
They believe they were fighting for better or worse, and I believe for worse,
Sure,
and that's
sure.
why I'm glad peace was found.
But I'm
They
asking
believe
if
they were
you're not
fighting
answering my question.
political and military
I'm
targets.
trying to bring it closer to home to
You're
you.
trying to compare apples and oranges.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
It's you that's doing that.
The only comparison that I would say that we saw from October the 7th and what Hamas did is with ISIS.
Excuse me.
It's the only comparison
Do you mind if I...
that
Let
bears
me ask you a
witness.
question. a Palestinian
And
truck.
ISIS were taken
Please
out,
let me
by the way, with
keep interrupting me.
No, here's what...
You didn't do this with the ambassador.
I'm going to finish
You did this
the
with Ben
point.
Shapiro, which you gave the show to him.
No, hang on. I'm giving you plenty of time.
No, you're not.
I'm giving you plenty. You asked about the analogy of a plane flying over and targeting...
But you didn't answer my question.
But that did happen, Mohammed, with ISIS.
Would you accept Belfast to be flattened
wait a minute.
or not? Yes or no?
Wait a minute. It never happened. So the like for like isn't relevant.
It's a hypothesis. It's hypothetical.
It's not. I don't do hypotheticals.
You don't do hypotheticals?
No, let's deal with reality.
Okay, let's deal with reality.
Mohammed,
Wow.
Let me finish. Then you can answer.
You don't answer the question.
No. Here's the reality.
The British public can see this.
Here's the reality, right? Let's
British
just...
public can see this.
Yeah, they can see it. Don't listen to the debate.
Keep going.
Right? For what it's worth...
This is the most professional argument I've ever seen. If they weren't on camera, they would probably be going at each other's heads the way that they're
I think it's
speaking.
a good debate to have. Right? These are questions many people on the pro-Palestinian side are having. I get it, right? But you're trying to compare what happened on October the 7th with the IRA.
No, I'm not. I used a hypothetical
Wait a minute, Mohammed.
question.
I'm comparing it to ISIS. And the way that the world in the end dealt with ISIS actually was to use airstrikes. And many civilians were killed.
There's a huge difference
Many innocent
between the
people
two,
died.
which you're not,
They're not.
You don't understand it because you have no idea of the religious
What's the difference between what happened on October the 7th and ISIS?
The difference between the Palestinian resistance is the following, okay? Any kind of thing which has Palestinian resistance attached to it, and ISIS, which is a brand of tekfirism, okay, is that ISIS is just one of many brands of tekfirism, which you don't know what it is, which is a kind of excommunication type heresiological Islamic sect, okay? So if there's
It's nihilistic mass murder. That's all they care about.
Listen, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying something else.
You agree with me, don't you?
I do, but of course I do, but you're not understanding what I'm saying, so I'm trying to break it down.
I am understanding what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that anything...
And I'm not anti-Palestinian, by the way.
Sure, Piers, but...
Over the many years, if you bothered to check what I said about it, I have always tried to shine a light on the plight of the Palestinians.
Allow me to speak, please, because you're just talking over me. The difference between the two are the following, right? Even if we assume that the killing of combatants in most definitions of terrorism is something which brings someone to be a terrorist, okay? I would say that if that is the case, then the state of Israel breaks that threshold and meets that condition. Because why is Israel not a state terrorist? If their highest officials are admitting that we want damage and not accuracy. Answer me this question. Why is the state of Israel, who are illegally occupying Gaza and the West Bank according to international law, and even the ICJ said that, okay, which is, as you know, an organ of the UN, all right? So this is international law. They're occupying, they're seizing, they're bombarding, they're indiscriminately killing, and they're blocking the supply lines. They're using white phosphorus. They're doing what you call mowing the grass, which is every few years, they're killing the Palestinian people.
I
want to understand what differentiates an Israeli in the sky pressing a button, killing the civilians, from somebody in any terrorist organization shooting the people. What differentiates it?
Israel will say it has a right to defend itself.
So will the terrorists? Right? That's what Osama bin Laden said.
And they will.
That's exactly Osama bin Laden's argument.
No, it's not though.
Yes, it is. I read his fatwas.
I read his fatwas. Hamas aren't defending themselves. Bin Laden wasn't defending himself.
Define defense.
Bin Laden was trying to kill as many of the enemy as possible.
Let me ask you a question. How could it be that an occupier is defending itself in the first place? The notion that Israel is defending itself is as absurd as the notion that the rapist is defending itself from the victim. Because Israel is the occupier.
You haven't asked me.
Hold on. Excuse me, let me finish. Just let me finish. An occupier by international law definition means that they are already in an offensive posture. If they're in an offensive posture, if someone brings you to Piers Morgan, grabs you by the thing, throws you into your bathroom, you're in your bathroom, you're screaming and they're eating food, having a good time. One day you come out of your bathroom, you try and fight one of them, who's defending who from who?
Mohammed,
how can you self-defend when you're occupying? Answer me this question.
He just made a really good analogy, man. He really did. Because even like on the thing when it's popping up, it's saying that 80% of Gaza they were in need of the basics of needs in life: the water, food, clean air, clothes. Like they were in dire need for that, so much that it was international, that like they had to get international help to get that stuff. And so they weren't like Israel was. They were not letting them get these needs taken care of because they were controlling the West Bank, right? They were controlling who's going in and out and what supplies are going in and out. And so I agree with that in the sense like they were wrong to do that, and they kind of caused this to happen because now Hamas is retaliating, saying we've had enough, our people had enough, and the people in Gaza, the 2 million people in Gaza were on the side of the Hamas because they were the ones that were feeling mistreated by Israel and the nation. And so he actually made a good point right there. Now, was Hamas right for doing what they did? No, they were wrong for going in and killing innocent people to get the attention of the Israeli forces. That was wrong. They could have had a way better plan than that. But he does make a good statement. You cannot say that that statement that he just made isn't accurate and it doesn't make sense. You cannot say it's not a good statement. So
they're eating food, having a good time. One day you come out of your bathroom, you try and fight one of them. Who's defending who from who?
Mohammed,
How can you self-defend when you're occupying? Answer me this question.
Let me speak now.
No, but answer the question.
Let me speak.
Answer the question first.
Fine, I'm going to speak.
Yeah.
Let me answer.
Yeah.
I believe that Israel's made a number of bad choices.
That's not answering my question.
Wait.
yeah.
I'm telling you what I think.
You're not answering my question.
Telling you what I think.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay? I don't think Israel's been perfect at all. Right?
You said they had the moral high ground.
I think a lot of the decisions Israel's taken are wrong. I think Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, his attempts to usurp the power of the Supreme Court this year in Israel has been a complete disaster.
Do you condemn them from killing civilians or not?
I do not. I will defend them this week.
Yes or no?
Wait.
Yes or no?
I will defend them this week in defending themselves against one of the worst terror attacks ever.
So you can kill civilians for that?
You can target Hamas.
Can you target? No, hold on.
And if Hamas, the controlling, governing, ruling body in Gaza, hide amongst the public,
this is a false.
Members of the public will die.
You're talking about fallacies. This is called the Moat and Bailey fallacy, which is that you're trying to defend one controversial idea by using another. It's Moat and Bailey fallacy. You can check it up in your own time. The point is this. I'm not asking you whether Israel has a right to defend itself. We've already said of the logical and legal impossibility. The logical and legal impossibility of an occupying power, according to international law, of actually defending itself because it's already. Let me finish. It's already in an offensive posture. Now I'm saying this. If it is the case, you're just saying it's defending itself against Hamas. Is the only way to defend itself against Hamas by dropping bombs in the most densely populated area, one of the most densely populated areas in the world? Is that the only way? It's a false dichotomy, creating a false dichotomy. They could do surgery, they can do insurrection. They can go in and they can target
We're going to take
Hamas.
a short break. I'm going to keep you here. I want to finish this. I want to give you the time. I think it's an important debate, an important conversation.
Sure. But you have to answer my questions.
I will. We'll come back. Yeah, but actually you have to answer mine. It's my show, actually.
I can answer you.
For the record, you can ask me as many questions as you want, but I'll tell you what I think.
I've answered all your questions.
We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and we're going to finish with a few more minutes, okay?
Wow, that's crazy. I'm going to stop that video right there, and I'm going to just go off the record and say this. In my opinion, this is how I felt. I've not publicly made an opinion about this thing yet because I wanted to hear and get both sides of what actually happened. I think both sides are wrong. That's exactly what I think. I think Hamas is wrong for doing what they did initially, going in there, killing innocent people, okay? I think they were wrong for hiding under the citizens, knowing that Israel and the Israeli forces had no other choice but to either, like he said, go in as insurgents and remove Hamas themselves or to bomb them and hurt and kill innocent people. I think both sides are wrong. I think Israel was wrong for doing before all of this even happened. I know they had wars before. I know they had problems before. I'm talking about now in the recent years. I know Israel was wrong for cutting off the West Bank and not allowing essential functionality of supplies and needs to not be distributed through that city and that in the whole area of Gaza and the West Bank. I think that they were wrong for doing that. Both sides were wrong. The innocent killing of people should not have happened. It could have been avoided. There could have been politics put in place. There could have been debates. There could have been talks with higher officials. They did not have to do it this way. And so both were wrong. But man, this argument right here got heated. I'm glad they got together, two people who are opposing sides. And I think overall they were able to talk about the situation without getting too emotional about it and getting too amped up. And they kept it pretty professional on both sides. So I agree with both of them. Each side was wrong. So, hey, man, look, let me know what you guys think about this video. I appreciate you watching. If you like what you see and you are not subscribed, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss another video. All right, until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out.